So good day everyone, I'm Kishimi Oclaret, the reporter for Chapter 12 entitled Dealing in Properties. So dealings in properties involve the sales, exchange, and other disposition of properties such as ordinary assets or capital assets. It should be recalled that ordinary assets are assets used in the business of the taxpayer, such as inventories, supplies, and properties, plant and equipment. Capital assets are assets other than ordinary assets. So, in this chapter, discuss the tax rules on the measurement and recognition of gains and losses arising from dealings in properties not subject to capital gains tax but subject to the regular income tax. Determination of gains or losses in dealing in properties. Selling price less tax basis or adjusted basis of the asset disposed, gain or loss. What is selling price? Selling price includes the amount realized from the sale and other disposition of property, which shall include the sum of money received and fair value of non-cash properties received. Tax basis refers to the cost carrying amount or depreciated cost of an asset. The cost of an asset is the value foregone to record it. So in other words, tax basis is generally the purchase price or the fair value of consideration paid in acquiring the property disposed of. Advanced rules on the tax basis. So, ordinary gains are separate items of gross income subject to regular income tax. Ordinary losses are items of deductions from gross income in the determination of net incomes from business or profession. Tax treatment of capital gain and losses. Capital losses are deductible only up to the extent of capital gains from dealings in capital assets other than domestic stock and real properties. Hence, capital gains and capital losses are offset. A net capital gain is an item of gross income subject to regular income tax. A net capital loss is not an item of deduction against gross income. The law views net capital losses are unnecessary expenses since capital assets are not used in the business or trade of the taxpayer. Determination of net capital gain or net capital loss. The determination of net capital gains or net capital loss on capital assets other than domestic stocks and real properties depends upon whether the taxpayers is an individual or a corporation. For individual taxpayers, if the capital asset is held by an individual taxpayer for a period of not more than 1 year or short-term holding period, 100% of capital gain or loss is recognized. Number 2, more than 1 year or long-term holding period, 50% of the capital gain or loss is recognized. So here are the examples of individual taxpayer. Mr. Makati sold various properties as follow in the year of 2019. So sa first table is yung item sold, which is yung car. Then date acquired niya is nung August 14, 2017. Then na-sold siya nung February 14, 2019. So gain loss niya is 100,000. So sa second table, yung car, yung holding period niya is long term, which is more than 1 year na. Kaya mababawasan ng 50% yung 100,000 niya. So yung gain loss niya, 100,000 minus 50% is 50,000. Next is office supplies. So June 1, 2018, yung acquired niya. Then na-sold siya noong December 5, 2019. So yung gain loss niya is 20,000. So the gain on the sales of the office supply is excluded in the net capital gain computation since it is an ordinary gain separately reportable as an item of gross income. So in the second table, laptop, So, yung holding period niya is short term, which is 80,000. So, yung 80,000 niya is hindi mababawasan. Dahil short term siya or not more than 1 year. So, yung gain loss ng laptop is 80,000. Then, short term siya, kaya yung capital gain niya is 100%. So, 100%. So, yung 80,000 niya, hindi mababawasan. So, yung gain loss niya is 80,000 pa rin. So, sa first table, yung home appliances, yung date acquired niya is noong July 21, 2018. Then, na-sold siya noong August 24, 2019. So, yung gain loss niya is 160,000. So, sa second table, makikita natin yung holding period ng home appliances is long term, which is mababawasan nito ng 50%. So, yung 160,000 minus 50% is equals to 80,000. So, yun yung gain loss niya. And then, yung books sa first table, date acquired niya is December 28, 2018. Then, yung date sold niya is noong November 26, 2019. So, yung gain loss niya is 30,000. So, kung makikita po natin sa second table, short term lang po ang kanyang period. So, yung 30,000 niya is hindi mababawasan. So, meron itong 100%. So, yun yung kanyang gain loss is 30,000. And then, yung vacant lot, date acquired is February 14, 2018. Date sold is on December 3, 2019. So, yung gain loss niya is 250,000. So, the sale of the vacant lot is excluded since it is subject to the 6% capital gains tax. So, proceed po tayo sa second table. So, yung net capital gains. So, para makuha po yung 20,000, ipag-add po natin yung 50,000, then yung 80,000, i-minus po natin yung 80,000 ng home appliances, then yung minus din po yung 30,000 ng books. So, ang total po is 20,000. So, the capital gains and capital loss of corporation are recognized at their full amounts without regard to the holding period. The gain on the sales of the building is not included as it is an ordinary gain. For corporate taxpayers, the net capital gain or loss shall be computed as. So, sa table, makikita natin yung sales of foreign securities, which is 350,000. So, kaya 100% siya, which is short term lang. And then, yung assignment of receivables, which is 200,000. Then, short term period din siya, kaya 100%. So, yung net capital gain is 150,000. So, paano nakuha yung 150,000? Pinag-minus yung 350,000 sa 200,000. So, kaya nakuha yung 150,000, which is yun yung capital gain. So, ito po yung second example. Mr. Tayabas, a self-employed resident citizen, reported 800,000 gross receipts and 300,000 cost of service before business expenses of 240,000. He also had the following deals in properties during the year. Dealings in properties. So, ordinary assets, equipment, holding period 8 months, gain loss 20,000. Old machines 18 months, then gain loss 25,000. Then sa capital assets, foreign bonds 4 months, then yung gain loss is 100,000. Domestic bonds 15 months, then yung gain loss is 150,000. Sa domestic stocks 8 months, then gain loss 80,000. Then foreign stocks 18 months, then gain loss niya is 40,000. The net capital gain shall be computed as follows. Foreign bonds, which is 100,000. So, short-term period lang siya. So, times 100%. So, walang mababago. Kaya, which is 100,000 pa rin siya. So, domestic bonds naman is 150,000 times 50%. So, long-term period na siya. So, yung 150,000 niya, i-multiply sa 50%, which is 75,000. Then, yung foreign tax is 40% times 50%. So, same lang po sa domestic funds, yung sa foreign tax. So, 40 times 50%. So, yung kalahati ng 40, which is 20,000. So, yung net capital gain, so 100,000 minus 75 plus 20,000, which is 45,000. So, the gain on sale of domestic stocks is subject to the 15% capital gain tax. Rationale of the holding period rule. So, in accordance with the ability to pay jury, these gains are taxable only when realized or served from the capital through disposal by sale or exchange. Individual taxpayers are subject to progressive tax, where higher income is subject to higher tax and lower income to lower tax. Corporate taxpayers are subject proportional tax, wherein the same income tax rate applies regardless of the level of income. Effect of situs on dealing in properties. If the taxpayer is taxable onward income, such as in the case of resident citizens and domestic corporations, the rule of dealings in properties applies to all properties regardless of location. However, if the taxpayer is taxable only on Philippine income, the rules of dealing in properties apply only to properties located in the Philippines. Net capital loss carryover. Individual taxpayers are allowed to carry over net capital loss as a deduction against net capital gain of the following year subject to the following limits. Limit 1. The amount of net income in the year the net capital loss was sustained, and limit number 2. The available net capital gain in the following year. The net capital loss carryover is strictly for 1 year only and is applicable only to individual taxpayers. Corporate taxpayers are not allowed under the NIRC to carry over net capital loss. Rationale of the first limit. Net income at incurrence of capital loss. The amount of capital loss carryover shall not exceed the net income before dealings in capital assets in the year the net capital loss was sustained. This rule is anchored on the tax benefits rule. If the law allowed full deductibility of capital loss, the taxpayer will be benefited only up to the amount of the net income which the capital loss will erase and save from taxation. The excess of the capital loss above this amount will not have a tax benefit. To be fair, the carryover shall not result in following the taxpayers more than what he could have claimed, assuming full deductibility of capital loss is allowed by the law. In other words, the carryover should not result in undue enrichment to the taxpayer. So, allowing capital loss carry over in excess of the net capital gain in the following year will create another net capital loss in the following year, which will be breached the 1-year carryover rule under NIRC. So, special rules in the determination of tax basis. A. For assets acquired by purchase, the tax basis is the number 1. Acquisition cost. 4. Capital assets, non-depreciable ordinary assets such as land, any asset purchased for an inadequate consideration or those acquired at less than their fair value at the date of acquisition.